There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than...
What's up, and welcome into episode number 166 of the Program Guyz Podcast. My name is Mason Prince. Joined with you as always by Patrick Kurtzberger, Matt Gann, Mark Hall. Today is Thursday, March 13th. Be sure to like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Find us on all of our social media at Program Guyz with a Z on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. That's where you can find us. Gentlemen, we're here on a Wednesday night record, and we are live with the people. The John Mateer news. First of all, OU's Pro Day was today, I believe, or yes, on Tuesday. I believe Wednesday.
Earlier this week, I believe.
So Tuesday.
I think it finished up.
Yeah, I think Tuesday was the move. We saw a lot of guys getting some burn at Pro Day. Cool to see. You saw Danny Stutzman bench and do his workouts as well. We'll get into a little bit of that later. But the first real news we need to touch on, I feel like, guys, is the John Mateer news. $3 million NIL deal over 2 years. And that is a large chunk of change for a college athlete. But does any of that surprise you? I think we all knew that the NIL deal had to be big and important. And I feel as though it's every bit of that.
Yeah, it's crazy to see. I think that's if he stays for 2 years, right? That's the total package. So probably making $1.5 million and then $1.5 million next year if that happens. But that's what you're seeing in college football, especially for a premier position in the quarterback facilities, is that each offseason potentially is that you're going to have or going to pay potentially top dollar for these guys. And the Mateer was the number one quarterback in the transfer portal, and we are definitely ponying up for it. We just hope that it will actually succeed in the SEC with the offense, with the new offensive coordinator. And this is what we're going to start asking ourselves every offseason. Is the money worth it for these types of athletes and these players who are coming in and getting these massive NIL deals? Because this is only going to continue. So you hope it's worth the money. But again, at the end of the day, now it's college football has turned into a capitalism money factory. So you only hope that the money you pony up will work out and succeed, just like I did Ohio State last year.
Free agency every year, Mark.
Yep, Darian Mensah goes from Tulane to Duke this offseason and gets $8 million over 2 years. A 3 for 2 of John Mateer, if he locks in for the 2, is a bargain. It really is a bargain for the going rate of a quarterback of that caliber. My question becomes, let's say he has a good year but doesn't get the NFL draft answers he wants. Does he pull a Dylan Gabriel and move on to another school that's going to pay him a little bit more? The one ace in the hole for Oklahoma after 1 year is we're still going to have Ben Arbuckle, you would think. I wouldn't think 1 year is going to get him up to a point of getting a head coaching job and trying to bring Mateer with him. So hopefully there's a strong 2-year window here, but you hear 2 years and it's like, all right, cool, I can guarantee 1. I can count on 1. There's nothing in place to keep us assuming 2.
Yeah, this is about $125,000 per game. I do agree that this is a huge bargain for a guy of this caliber. He probably could have gotten at least 5 to 8, maybe even more somewhere else. And I think it's pretty safe to say if he doesn't have an incredible year with a great draft stock, he does stay for those 2 years because we do have Ben Arbuckle. So I think he's going to be comfortable at OU for 2 years, but I also see him renegotiating this deal if he does prove himself to be really good. Like if we win 10 games, he's going to get another 1.5 for a $3 million total going into year 2. I would believe that.
He'd get more. I think he'd get more.
Or more.
You have 10 wins. He says something like, look, I won't hit the market, but you got to come close to what market is. Like you gotta do something right by me.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. If he has a good year, it's the free agent open market, and I think you're right, Mark. He'd probably give Oklahoma a chance to match it, but I just don't see how in today's college football, where all you do is continue to get the highest bid or the highest offer. Why would you not? And if that's not at Oklahoma, then like it's not Oklahoma. I'm going into this season fully prepared for one John Mateer season. That's just where my head's at, so I don't get hurt. I am thinking of him as a mercenary, and he's here for 1 year to increase his brand and then move on somewhere. If he stays 2 years, fantastic. If he performs well, like we all hope and expect him to, yeah, I'd love for him to stick around. If not, I'm fully prepared for the Dylan Gabriel route where he's on to bigger and better things with a bigger paycheck.
It's one of those things that really rubs me, one of 1,000 things that rubs me the wrong way when we do the Baker Mayfield comparisons, because Baker wasn't going anywhere.
No.
There wasn't a highest bidder thing. Baker Mayfield was an Oklahoma quarterback the moment he became an Oklahoma quarterback. And not to say John Mateer won't be that. We might look back in 2 years and say he's on that level, but the commentary right now, I think, is assuming a lot.
Yeah. And like, it's funny to see, look, they're not the same talent or the same player, but like you see Jaron Canick's answer at media availability at spring ball, basically about like, I'm never going anywhere. This is where I want to be. I want to play for this coach, for this program. And then not to say that this isn't that where John Mateer's head is at, but like our conversation centered around John Mateer is like, he's going to go get a bag somewhere. And you have guys who still exist like Jaron Kanak, who are guys that Brent recruits that are like through and through, like, this is where I want to be. I want to play for Brent and I want to play for Oklahoma. Like, I don't really care about anything else.
Thinking about it more, I really don't think he leaves in year 2 unless he goes to the NFL, because he had the chance to get the bag this year. So why would he leave in year 2?
Do we know that the Oklahoma bag wasn't the largest bag he was offered?
I believe it wasn't.
I just don't know if we know.
Yeah,
apparently it was reported we were like the third best offer. Yeah, compared to Miami and whoever the other runner was in the running. But I think we were like the third best offer, third lowest offer out of the couple that he had.
And I think that math works. If you go into year 2 and it's like, all right, I need you to be my third best offer for me to stick around. Good math, man. The guy's got to do right for him, and that's where Oklahoma has to pony up. That's the system.
Hey, that's what Jim Nagy's here for, right? To make these types of decisions every offseason. That's why you bring in a general manager for roster management, and I believe all faith in Jim Nagy to make those types of big decisions year in and year out.
Yeah, and at what point do you bank on the guys you have on the roster? Like at what point does John Mateer come through and say, hey, match my offer? And you're like, no, thanks. We're going to take our chance on, XYZ freshman, sophomore. Mike Hawkins. Or anybody. Yeah. So I think that's an interesting thing to get to down the line. But John Mateer at Pro Day, the spring ball propaganda at an all-time high.
JD McHale needs to shut the hell up, man. He needs to shut the hell up on Twitter.
I know, man. But it is funny. I love the spring ball slow-mo throw videos. And also, did we talk about this last show? Because Mark brought it up, and I do want to touch on it. The Baker Mayfield, John Mateer thing, we got to stop. It's got to stop. I know that everybody's excited. I'm excited too. You're not doing anybody any favors. And in no way are these scenarios similar at all. They're not. Baker Mayfield came in as a dude who was essentially told to kick rocks by his previous team. No highest bidder action, no free agency. He came to OU with his hand out, walking on. And now and there's no shade against John Mateer. I'm not saying he's not a great football player. He could be. But let's not look. Baker Mayfield, for my money, the greatest quarterback Oklahoma's ever had or will have, in my opinion. So to do this to John Mateer and put him up on this pedestal, and he hasn't even played a game yet, it's not fair to anybody. It's just not.
Didn't you learn your lesson with the Jackson Arnold experience.
Yeah, right.
And like saying he could be the next Baker and looking like a complete idiot.
Yeah, man.
Because you looked like a complete idiot, honestly.
One thing Mason said, and then Matt brought up the Jim Nagy of it, and it's a little tangential to this. It's not exactly, but I think you're going to lose the Jaren Canics in the future because they're never going to enter the game just wanting to play for a coach. They're entering the game with that bottom line in mind, and that's what we're losing. You know, we're losing the guy who is sticking around and changing positions in year 3 because he just loves where he's at. The coach was such an important and crucial part of his recruitment that he's just sticking around. He freaking decommits from Clemson in the dark of the night and just enrolls at Oklahoma. No one even knows what's going on. And we've kept that guy because Brent Venables has kept that guy. As you cede power to a general manager who's going to decide the roster, how does that change? That's last week's conversation. That's 2 weeks ago's conversation. But I think that's the conversation moving forward in all of this.
Yeah. Just to touch back on the spring ball reactions, I'm over it. I don't care about the videos. And you guys know, I was like the number one guy who really cared about the hype videos in spring. But I need to see some production on the field from this coaching staff and these players before I get excited about anything at this point. There are no expectations from them. My expectations from them are just low.
Didn't you say 10 wins, 11 wins, something crazy?
Yeah, but spring game's not going to make me or spring ball,
nothing in the spring.
Nothing in the spring is going to make me say that at this point. Like
that sounds like a great segue.
You can take pictures of like David Stone being bigger, PJ being bigger, all those things, but until PJ gets a few sacks within a couple game period, I'm not going to believe that PJ is working out.
Starts consistently, right?
Yeah. I don't care how big he is.
Right.
Yeah, I'll just mention a couple things to kind of wrap up the John Mateer. I think a lot of what we've been seeing comparisons to Baker is he's got the long hair, he's got the swagger, the aura. I'm okay with those comparisons, but when you talk about the career accolades and where Baker came from, let's leave that to Baker to himself, because where Baker came from is obviously a different place, like we mentioned, than obviously John Mateer. But we do need that swagger back. And it starts with the quarterback position, essentially the captain and leader of your team. And obviously we did not see that out of the quarterback room last year with Jackson Arnold thinking that he was going to be the guy and then bringing in Mike Hawkins maybe too early as a freshman, let him develop. But this guy is seasoned. He's a vet in his own rights with what he's already done at Washington State in his career. We need that swagger back, and we need that kind of energy that only is going to triculate throughout the entire team. So I enjoy that part of the Baker Mayfield comparison, but he's got his own mechanics, the way he runs the offense. I still like to see that on the field. So excited for that, because this is exactly the type of juice the offense needs. Now, when it comes to spring ball, the biggest things that I'm taking away from it is, again, I feel like the last few years we've all fell in the trap of seeing these guys, they make the nice catches and they're putting on the weight, but the weight makes a huge difference, especially for some of these positions. I'll just name you a few guys that are just kind of sticking out to me. David Stone's up 18 pounds, up to 313. Dominic Williams is up to 320, about 8 pounds. PJ is up about 10 plus. R. Mason Thomas, about 8. And some of these guys, Xavier Robinson up to 235. Are you kidding me? And we've already talked about Devon Mitchell, but he's up from 259 to 275. And some of the additions on the offensive line coming in as well, with Michael Fasusi, 6'5", 300, and Ryan Foje, 6'5", 324. That's the type of weight you want to see on the defensive and offensive line. So definitely excited about the type of growth that we've seen from a weight perspective. That's only going to continue to help. But again, I'm not going to fall into what we've already talked about, the spring propaganda. Let's see it progress on the actual field against actual SEC components. But you definitely like to see the weight of some of these guys.
How about also like you get closer to the season? Like don't even worry about like seeing it in a game. How about we get closer to the season? Because we're naming off all these weights, and that's amazing. These ain't playing weights. Like, if you think Devon Mitchell's going to go out there and play at 275, I got bad news for you. Like, he's not going to.
He's not playing.
He's
not playing.
Yeah, he's not going to be. Is he doing this to like put on weight and put on muscle? Absolutely. And I guarantee you it's working. But is he going to go out there and play at 275? Hell no. Hell no, he's not. But you can hold 275 through 2-3 weeks of spring practice. You absolutely can. That's not bad. And I think that's kind of their goal. But yeah, the PJ Adebawore, from freshman year to now, pictures, those are fun. Seeing the guys progress is really cool. I just want to get closer to the season before I get too excited. I am fully prepared to be here in August, ready for those two freshmen to start. Just begging people to like put them on the line and just be like, let's figure it out. Let's see what we got in the first couple games. I'm so prepared for myself to do that.
They're getting the reps in spring ball. All of the tackles are injured. And so that's time you're missing, and we're going to get to see, or the coaches are going to get to see, what Fasusi has, what Foje has. It's not just weight gain. It's can you play? And these guys are going to get chances in the spring that these other guys just are not, due to surgeries, due to injuries, all of the, all rightful stuff. It's no problem. But I came into the spring thinking if we saw a freshman start at tackle in the fall, it's a bad thing. And now it's like, hey, maybe a guy just proves himself. Because if they don't, we're going to see a sophomore or a junior. We just know we will.
Right.
Yeah, sorry if this is a bold statement, but no one on that offensive line coming back deserves to start. None of them deserve to start, honestly. And if they're hurt, then that's awful. That's a really bad look. We should have done more in the portal if that was the case, if we had any sense of that.
I don't think you're wrong. I think the whole point of a football team and what kind of Brent's mantra is nobody's given anything. You earn your play on the field by how you practice. And that's our whole thing, right? Remember last year talking about like, why isn't this guy playing? And then Brent comes up and says, oh, well, he doesn't practice well. Devon Mitchell, prime case. We say all this stuff, but really it comes down to what you show in practice. And if these freshmen go out there, like Mark said, and they're the best players in practice, they're going to play. And the fact that you started last year means absolutely nothing. And it shouldn't. You're right, Patrick. It shouldn't mean anything. With what we saw out of the offensive line, shouldn't matter. If you're not good enough, you're not good enough. Plain and simple.
And we saw it at receiver, right? We saw 2 years ago, Gavin Freeman was the best player in spring ball. That's a thing that Brent Venables told us. He was the best receiver, not player, in the entire spring ball. A year later, he's at the transfer portal. Like, the production has to maintain. You can't, to Mason's point, you got to show it in practice, but you can't just be a practice player too. And that's where we fall into some of the spring problems. Like Pat and Matt are saying is, oh, Gavin Freeman looks fantastic. Maybe he's the next Drake Stoops. Turns out he can't do anything like that.
He's not taking enough PEDs.
Right.
Yeah. He's not taking enough PEDs.
No,
like Drake.
Not enough. Drake, I mean, look at the bump from his junior to senior year. That dude, the clean and the clear. My goodness, Barry Bond Stoops out here.
Yeah,
a lot of things make sense now with the Drake Stoops
that improvement.
Yeah, and who the hell
getting so jacked? No, never mind.
Who the hell even knows what he's on? Like 2 games doesn't seem like a lot for whatever he did.
No,
that seems like nothing.
You took the wrong creatine.
Yeah, that was just what I was about to say. It's like you took creatine with like an extra BCAA or some nonsense. Yeah, it sounds absolutely stupid. Because if he was like full on juicing, I doubt it's a 2-game suspension. That's usually like a half season or a full season. Yeah.
I do want to, before we get off spring ball, I know that we've spent this whole time talking about how we're not going to overreact to spring ball. I'm going to overreact just a step. Okay? So on one side of the line, our Mason Thomas is absolutely going to be starting at defensive end, right? Well, through a week and a half almost of spring football, PJ is getting those first team reps over Marvin Jones. And you just brought Marvin Jones in from Florida State. He was at Georgia previously. This is a highly recruited former 5-star kind of guy. Maybe it's just that PJ has a better sense of the defense than Marvin does at this point, but that's a win for me because PJ didn't seem to have a great sense of what was going on the field before the spring. And if this is the year we finally can turn PJ Adebawore up to 100, I'm high on that. I mean, you see him in the pictures, and it's. I agree with you guys. That's not really anything, but that he's going with the first team might be something. Is kind of where I land. It might be that he's actually scratching the surface of who he could be as a player.
I want PJ to be the guy so bad. I want him to.
Yeah. Gigantic.
He's huge. He's huge. I want to, before we move on, sorry, I lost my outline. I messed up. Okay, before we get to Pro Day, I do want to talk real quick, just a little recruiting. I want to get everybody's thoughts because it is a big deal. Jaden O'Neal goes on the visit to Georgia. Yeah. Is anybody worried? According to Brent's policy, this is a big deal because it means you're not committed. It means you're not committed. And he just moved to Mustang, Oklahoma to go play football in Oklahoma. I think it's weird. It's weird timing.
Jaden O. Kevin Sperry, baby. That's what I'm gonna call him. We'll see. We'll see. The coaching staff has shown a lot of interest in Bo Bentley, recently named the #1 quarterback in Texas by Dave Campbell's Texas Football. That's a very reputable publication. We've seen the interest in Bo Bentley. That said, this is a weird situation. It's just a weird situation. Hopefully we bring in both, but I doubt either wants that.
This isn't the first time Jaden O'Neal's pulled this either, right? I think he went to Colorado late last year.
Did he?
Yeah.
You might be the only one. You might be right.
However, yeah, Jaden O'Neal's been continuously flirting, and I thought the flirting would end after he decided to move from California to Mustang.
Yeah. Well, and also it's also flirt season. It's also flirt season. Like a lot of people are going on visits right now and announcing when they're going on visits, and everybody's trying to get their summer visits scheduled and all that stuff. So it's that time of the year. I just thought it was a big deal because of Brent's policy. Like if you're committed. You don't go on other visits like that. And if you do, then to Mark's point, we're going to go talk to other people. We're going to go pretend that we don't have a quarterback right now.
There was no Jaden O'Neal post about the visits he's taking, right?
Yeah.
We just get a report. He was at Georgia today.
Yeah.
That's a man who is looking at his options, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Completely agree. Also some other recruiting news, 4-star running back, Caden Jones, Oklahoma offer. He went to OU on a visit in January. He's the number 7 running back in the nation, according to Rivals. He is a top 10 running back, 4-star running back. He was at Oklahoma State today. Oklahoma State's trying really hard to get him. He was at Louisville.
As they should.
Yeah, Louisville a week ago. If I had to, and I'm not an insider, but I know the kid. And I don't talk to him about recruiting. I keep that part of our relationship out of it. But if I had to guess, I would put Louisville at the top.
Interesting.
And I think Oklahoma State's probably in the top 3, and I'd probably give Oklahoma a top 3 as well. I think that would be his top 3 options. He really likes Louisville. It has nothing but good things to say about when he goes to Louisville and looks forward to going. So I would if I'm Oklahoma, I'm going to try everything I can because he's a great football player. He's very good, and he's the number 7 running back in the country. And it'd be great to keep an in-state guy in-state, but Oklahoma State's going to try really hard to do that as well.
And if you're looking at Oklahoma's recruiting class, it's hopefully you get Katie Jones and then Jonathan Hatton, who decommitted and now could still commit. Oklahoma's still in the running there, but you want to bring in at least a back every class, I would assume. And that's 2 guys who are now question marks.
Yeah. Right. Completely agree. Go ahead, Mark.
Mason, just you know KD Jones better than any of us do. Do you have someone that you would compare him to as a runner that we could think about?
I'm trying to think. I mean, he's a really vision-oriented running back. He's not going to break away with his speed at all. His vision is really, really good. He's really shifty and he's hard to bring down, but his receiving ability out of the backfield is like second to none. He's a fantastic receiver out of the backfield, but is not afraid to run between the tackles. I'm trying to.
If I threw you Kennedy Brooks,
Yeah.
how do you feel about that?
I give you Kennedy Brooks. He's more shifty than Kennedy, like in terms of like lateral quickness.
I'm thinking Austin Eckler, baby.
Austin Eckler. Okay, I'd give you that. So like he's not
fan.
It's hard, but like he's not the physical freak that DeMarco Murray was. But Jinx uses him a lot like Oklahoma used DeMarco Murray, and he runs it perfectly. Like he's very, very good at that. Playing the highest level of Oklahoma high school football you can. Like he's a very fun athlete to watch.
KD,
he's 5'11".
He's not okay. He's not going to run up high the way DeMarco did.
No. He's 5'11". He's probably close to 6 foot. He's a big kid. He's a big kid for sure, and he's putting on weight. He's like 190 something right now. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets to his senior year and he's about 200. He's an athlete, man. He really is.
He's a have to for me. Yeah,
he's a great kid.
Brent has talked since day one. You've got to lock down Oklahoma talent. This is Oklahoma talent. You got to lock it down.
He's an athlete. By the way, are you wearing a Joe Mixon shirt, Pat?
I am. I bought it.
You bought it and it's already in? Dang, you pay that extra shipping, bro?
No, I think it took like a week.
Your thing came in, Mason? Chill.
It did.
It's fanatics,
I know.
baby.
When Mark sends us a link, you never know.
Dude, amazing. It's so great. It's so great. Okay, Pro Day. Any thoughts on Pro Day as a whole, boys? We saw Danny Stutzman. We saw a lot of guys who I saw and I'm like, buddy, it's time to hang it up. But Danny Stutzman is not one of those guys. But did anybody stick out for you guys from the Pro Day festivities at OU?
So Danny threw up 22 on the bench press. And that's the only thing I saw him do. I don't know if I just missed something.
He did run a 40 at 4.52 and then did a 30.
That was the vertical. That was at the
unless
combine.
that's just pulling from the combine.
Those were combines.
Okay.
Yeah. At the Pro Day specifically, Trace Ford, man. Trace Ford's performance was insane. He ran a faster 40 than Ollie Gordon at Oklahoma State.
Crazy.
That's nuts.
That guy's a running back.
Crazy.
Yeah, that guy's a running back.
He was going to be a first round running back like a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
10'2" broad jump, 34-inch vertical. Trace Ford performed at his Pro Day like someone who should have been invited to the combine. Mm-hmm. Now, you get why he wasn't invited to the combine, the way his career just sort of played out, but an insane performance at 6'2", 249.
Yeah, I think he was the one that really helped himself today because of what you mentioned, Mark, just because of a lot of his health concerns. But yeah, running a sub 4.6 for a guy his size and weight, I think really has probably propelled him to a better spot. Ethan Downs putting up 32 reps on bench. I think that was also shown that, he's just got tremendous strength. Is that from the combine? Knowing that, I think Ethan Downs did help him a little bit with the combine. He didn't do too much in the actual Pro Day himself. I don't think he really needed to from that instance. Everyone else just kind of nothing really stuck out to me from any of these other guys like Des Malone, Jake Roberts. Some of these guys you didn't really expect.
Casey Thompson did stuff. It's like,
yeah. So Woody Washington, Caden Woodard, nothing really sticks out to me on this. And hopefully they get potential opportunities in the NFL. But I think Trace definitely put him in a good position.
Woody ran, I think I saw a 4.57.
Yeah.
You can't be slow. You can't be slower than Danny Stutzman.
No, you can't.
You can't be slower than Danny Stutzman. No. One real fast thing. Trace Ford ran a 4.55 40-yard dash. That would have been second among defensive ends at the combine. He's a little undersized, but that's good. That's really good.
I think people are gonna give Trace a chance. I think if he doesn't get drafted, he's easily a camp invite and gonna be one of those typical Hard Knock stories that people are like, oh, here's this undrafted guy given a chance and see if he can make the roster. By the way, are we still a UNC Hard Knocks, or did they cancel that? I thought they canceled that.
That got cut. Cut. Turns out it's a lot different doing that in college than it is in the NFL. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh man. Here comes the backup quarterback hungover from the night before. Let's see how his practice goes. Yeah. Okay. So pro day in the books. Matt Gann, we want to circle the wagons. We got a lot to get to, brother. So let's go ahead and give me the info about what's going on, man.
Yeah, let's start with on the Diamonds. OU softball going up to 22-0 after their first series in the SEC, playing a number 10 Lady Gamecocks in South Carolina, where they ended up having to do a double header on Sunday. And listen, if you ever played 2 back-to-back games in one day, you can see how exhausting that it can be. But ended up sweeping the series, and I think in this particular series when OU didn't have their best pitcher in Sam Landry, who is pitching tonight, so we will know the results. They're playing Tulsa currently, but she did pitch. I didn't see how many innings that she got in, but didn't have probably your best pitcher. You had to have freshman Audrey Lowry really step in because the rest of the pitching staff gave up a lot of hits, a lot of homers. But hey, credit to South Carolina. They're a very good team and will continue to be throughout the SEC conference. But this is what you're going to get, is you're going to get highly competitive series week in and week out. OU is no longer playing a soft Big 12 schedule anymore, but really good timely offense and defense. There was times where OU was up quite a bit, gave up a large lead, had to overcome, or they were also down quite a bit in the first game, had to come back with some big homers and some timely defense. So I think this is a really good competitive series for OU to go through, because it's only going to continue to be a long, excruciating season going through the SEC gauntlet. So like I said, playing Tulsa currently, I think that game might be over if someone wants to give me an update, but they will also go on a 3-game series against number 15 Arkansas, and a little family head-to-head because Patty's son DJ is the hitting coach at Arkansas. So the family will be going head-to-head, very similar to when OU softball played Utah, where DJ was last season. And Patty had some really nice comments about what it means to play her family, even though she didn't expect them to be softball coaches in their own right. It's really great to see where they've come so far and get the opportunity to play against each other. So
they're all Sooners.
Softball, all Sooners
at the end of the day. They're all Sooners, right, baby.
So softball still 22-0, undefeated, enter their first series in the SEC. Over to the other baseball diamond, OU suffering their first loss of the season.
Real quick, Matt, Oklahoma up 10-2 on Tulsa, bottom of the 6th.
Okay, so possibly run ruling there. I appreciate the update.
Yeah. Sorry about that
front. Other side of the diamond, OU did suffer their first loss of the season. They actually got run ruled by the Dallas Bombers in Dallas Baptist, 11-0. The bats were hot, and they did not stop. It was also a very weird night because the wind was blowing like 30 miles an hour, if anyone in Dallas also realized or was there at the time. But OU definitely – and Dallas Bombers, they're a top 15 team. So credit to the Dallas Baptist themselves.
Yeah, they just walked off Oklahoma State. Yeah. They just walked off Oklahoma State like last night too.
Right. So yeah. And they got, the term Dallas Bombers really fits because they were cranking out home runs left and right. But OU did bounce back in a 3-game series against Sam Houston, sweeping all 3 games. They're playing Louisiana Tech this weekend before their first 3-game series against an SEC opponent in South Carolina. So OU baseball, continue to watch out for them. They're going to continue only to get better and better as the season progresses. Switching over to the hardcore, OU's women's basketball started SEC tournament last week against beating Georgia in the first round 70-52 after I believe they got a first round bye, if I'm not mistaken. But they did held on to be a number 12 Kentucky 69-65 behind Reagan Beer's double-double of 20 points. points and 11 rebounds. They would go on to the semifinals against one of the best teams, if not the hottest team in the country, in South Carolina, who they lost to originally in the season by 40 points. A little bit closer this one, losing 93-75 as they await for Selection Sunday. They are currently projected as a number 4 seed in the Birmingham region. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But I think Jenny B has these girls, but some of these teams are just on another level like South Carolina. So good luck to them.
And I think Jenny's going to get there. Sorry. I'm a big Jenny guy.
We all are.
And
we all are.
And you're absolutely right. That South Carolina team, they're a fantastic basketball team. And you see the discrepancy in talent that's there, but Jenny's recruiting the right people. Like Beers is a prime example. Get her in from the transfer portal. She's got she just got a freshman committed the other day, a 4-star freshman who had offers.
Did she get the point guard?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm pretty
that was
sure.
Pickup.
So, I mean, I'm sorry. In the final two. With Texas.
That's what I saw.
Yes, my bad. But I mean, for the people like that, you're in the battle for, right? Like, and even that number 1 player in the country, Oklahoma's a top 5 in her. So it's just Jenny's going to get the right people in here. It's just about getting there. South Carolina, Dawn Staley's been doing it for 15 years.
Yeah.
She's great. She's amazing. Gino Auriemma, been doing it forever. He's got another girl who's averaging, freaking 60 points a night or whatever the hell it is. Like, these coaches who've been doing it a while have the rapport and have the resume. Jenny's going to get there. I'm fully the most confidence I have in an Oklahoma coach right now is Jenny Baranczyk.
Well said.
Well, but aside from Patty Gasso, Patty doesn't count.
Patty doesn't count. And at the same time, they just beat Kentucky. Right?
Mm-hmm.
To reach the semifinals of the SEC tournament, we're a 5 seed, they're a 4 seed. It's not crazy that happened, but it's a level up, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a level up from where we were to advance in the SEC championship tournament.
Yep.
Sorry, Matt.
We'll continue to see. No, I think all great points. I think we talk so much about OU men's basketball and kind of the turmoil that it's been the last couple of seasons, but yet women's basketball has continued to steadily improve and do much better with no excuses from Jenny B and co. Right. But switching over to OU's men's basketball, finally ending on a good note for the season. They had to beat Texas in Austin to have a chance to getting into the tournament, beat them 76-72. And Jeremiah Fears had a tremendous game. I mean, he's definitely had an up and down season. In Austin, correct.
Bitches.
And so they needed that game to win. They're most likely from what I've seen, the last 4 in, but they will also start the SEC tournament against Georgia tonight. So when you're listening to this, they will know the results of that game. But
there's
a game in Austin.
There's something I saw that if Oklahoma wins the game against Georgia, they're like 90% to get in. If they lose, that drops to like 66%.
That's crazy. We're still on it.
Really, really the definition of a must win against Georgia. Mm-hmm. The definition of a must win.
Yeah, and the only thing that's really holding the resume together and why OU is still potentially a projected contender in the SEC or the NCAA tournament is because some of the big wins they had earlier in the season when they beat I think it's the number 2 Michigan currently in the conference, and some of these I think it's Arizona and somebody else. So those wins early in the season have really kept Oklahoma afloat. But to your point, Mason, they beat Georgia pretty much guaranteed in. But I even think if they lose, they're still going to get one of those last spots. So they're just going to be a highly projected seed at that point, and going to play a very tough component the first round. So look out for OU men's basketball. Switching over to men's gym.
Opponent. Georgia's a 3.5-point favorite against Oklahoma tonight.
Okay.
So just everyone who listens will already know, but you're going up against a good basketball team. You got to win.
Yep. We'll see what Moser can pull off in this one. Men's gym 12-1 recently beat Nebraska and California. They will play William and Mary in Greensville this weekend before the NPSF championships and then eventually the NCAA championships. So their season is coming close to an end as well. Women's gym 14-1. They recently beat Auburn and Michigan in back-to-back matches, and they will also compete against Georgia before heading into the SEC championship. So two programs going to the far into the postseason. Men's tennis recently beat number 18 Tennessee 4-2. Lost to A&M, beat Florida. Suck at Volunteers. Beat Florida, lost to Mississippi State. So they've had an up and down season so far in SEC play, but they're 10-4 overall, 3-2 in conference play. They will play Auburn and South Carolina this weekend. Very similar on the other side. Women's tennis also 10-3, 3-2 in conference play. Lost to number 11 Texas, number 5 A&M before rebounding against Missouri, and number 16 Vanderbilt. They will play Kentucky and number 8 Tennessee this weekend as well. Last update, OU's men's golf is currently ranked number 6 in the nation behind Auburn, Arizona State, Ole Miss, Texas, and OSU. They recently competed in the Southern Highlands Collegiate Invitational and finished 5th, had 2 Sooners in the top 20. They will compete in the Puma Valley Invitational in San Diego this upcoming weekend. So we talked about last week in the WaGanns, a lot of these programs, including track and field, both men's and women's, are in the top 10. So a lot of good programs competing in the postseason. We'll just have to see it all plays out, but a lot of good updates and more to come. That is Circled the WaGanns.
Bang, bang. Thank you, brother. Circled. Wagons circled. Let's wrap up the show with our PGP MVP of the week, guys. We'll give our MVP of the week. Pat, we'll start with you, man. Who you got?
Yeah, I got the Houston Texans. Great free agency move by getting Alex Earl. Really excited for her to be our version of Taylor Swift. Braxton Berrios comes with it too. We need.
He's ass, man. He's bad.
No, I know, but we got Alex Earl out of it. I don't know
what we're doing here.
Alex Earl. She doesn't even play football. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, Alex Earl, man.
Whatever.
I thought you were gonna say your MVP's Bonnie Blue for like tearing it up in Cancun. You know,
that's ridiculous.
No, but I'll go next then. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh my god. Oh, so bad. Okay, sorry, Pat. I interrupted you. Were you done?
Houston Texans, Alex Earl.
Okay, hey, shout out Alex Earl. The Houston Texans also trading Laramie Tunsil. You cool with that?
Nope, not cool with that. Unless
LVP, Houston Texans.
Unless there's something we just don't know, which I hope that's the case.
All of the Houston people I follow, so like Lance Zierlein, right? He does Houston radio. He's a Houston sports guy, and he was also an NFL draft guy. All of his tweets are like, yeah, they're really focusing on culture. And so I think maybe that's the Laramie Tunsil thing. I think you can get more than a 2, 3, and 4 in several years.
Yeah.
To
agree
for a culture guy.
Especially he's so under contract. He's like not even close to his contract being up. He's a Oh, I mean, I don't get
and
it.
that's the weakest link of our team as well.
I was about to say your offensive line was the whole problem.
Yeah.
And then you get rid of the anchor.
Something's got to happen.
They're the MVP, Mason. They got an influencer in-house. Right. It's what's important.
It is what's important.
Maybe when they sign Kyle Juszczyk, his wife will make
they're gonna
Alex Earl.
Yeah,
they're gonna. That'd be amazing. That'd be so amazing.
Real life will go ahead and go.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go LVP, Matt Gans, Green Bay Packers. So today, AJ Dillon signs with the Philadelphia Eagles, and in 2020, the Packers drafted AJ Dillon in the second round of the draft with so many receivers still on the board. And the plan was for AJ Dillon to be Aaron Jones' backup. Last season, as Ryan Tyson may know, Aaron Jones started for the Vikings. AJ Dillon was a Packer, and now AJ Dillon's an Eagle. It sure would have been nice in the span of Aaron Rodgers' Packers career to go get some receivers for this guy. And instead, they went backup running back, who is now going to be a backup for the Philadelphia Eagles. That's a crazy call. It was a crazy call in real time. And I think, Matt, you would have agreed with that because we talked about it. LVP, the Green Bay Packers, baby. Crazy call.
Hard to argue. I've been calling for a skill round or a wide receiver skill position to be drafted in the first round. in a long time, and they've yet to do it. So trust me, I'm right there with you.
Second round. It's good.
My MVP, I'm going to go ahead and give it to the NBA. NBA ratings, they're coming back. The Lakers-Celtics game had good numbers. The Celtics and Thunder playing tonight. I'm sure that's going to have great ratings as well. The MVP and SGA going up against the Celtics with everybody back. Kristaps Porzingis is going to play. Jason Tatum's going to play. Jaylen Brown's going to play. And Chet Holmgren's back, correct?
Chet Holmgren, no. Jalen Williams, he got hurt in the last game.
Okay.
So I think that's like the only guy that's really missing.
Gotcha.
I didn't think Kristaps was playing. I thought he was doubtful, but could be.
They announced it today that he was playing.
Gotcha.
As well as they announced Jalen and Jason. So, cool. I saw something that was so bad. I don't know if I should say it. I'm going to say it regardless.
Chet's playing. He played 2 days ago. Chet's playing.
I know Chet's playing, but Jalen's the only guy I think that's out on the Thunder.
Okay, I misunderstood you. All right, sorry, Mason.
No, it's okay. Kristaps Porzingis posted something about how he's out dealing with an illness, and someone tweeted, said, of course it's Kristaps Porzingis, finally gets healthy, and then he gets effing AIDS. It's like the dude just can't stay healthy. It's insane. It's just so crazy. If it's not one thing, it's the other with Kristaps. But when he plays, man, he's fun. He's a fun.
The nuts thing is that you have Al Horford just coming off the bench doing a Kristaps impression every time. Like, it's fine. We have Al.
He's 38 years old or whatever the hell he is, and he's still doing it.
He's always been so good, man.
It's fun, man. It's fun. Okay, did we all get ready? Go ahead, Matt.
MVP, if you viewers out there watching on YouTube, you notice I'm the only one not in OU gear. I am in a Dallas Stars jacket, and I'll give it to, very similar to Patrick, but I'll name the specific GM for Dallas Stars. That's Jim Neal, who made probably the blockbuster trade of free agency in the NHL, signing one of the top wingers in the world, Mikko Rantanen, to join the Stars as they push to the playoff run. They have now pushed all the chips in the middle, and they have an established core. Signing or extending Wyatt Johnson, who'll be the future captain of the Dallas Stars. They are looking to get over the top with back-to-back Western Conference Finals appearances to finally get over the hump and get to the Stanley Cup and win it. So I don't know how Jim Neal does it. I've been very blessed to have two GMs. They're absolute magicians. What Sam Presti is doing in Oklahoma City and Jim Neal is doing for the Dallas Stars. It's pretty remarkable. I'm very lucky as a fan of both teams. So I'll give it to Jim Neal for the free agency signing.
Noted NBA champion, Sam Presti.
The guy wins one under his current team, and Mason's got this.
And that's going to do it. Episode 166 is in the book. Be sure to like, subscribe on our YouTube channel. Find us on all of our social media. Program Guyz with a Z. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. That's where you can find us. Pat, does your shirt say Joe Mixon? Does it say Mixon on the back?
I think so. Yeah.
Amazing. No notes. That's going to do it.
For pound.
Pat, take us out.
Keep pushing it, baby.
It's unreal. It's so unreal.
It's perfect, man.
There's not one guy, one person in the history of this program that's bigger than the program.
What's better than this? Guys being